Next week on Hot Spring Hunters, Wonderhussy and the gang discover a new hot spring. But is it hot enough? Tune in to find out. Hey, Wonderhussy here, out in my favorite place, the desert. I'm with my sister and Larry, and we're on a very exciting expedition where we might potentially discover a new hot spring. I didn't think there were any hot springs in the area that I didn't already know about, but my sister and I were soaking at the hot spring in Tacoma, California the other night, and we met a local guy who was born in Tacoma and now he lives in Pahrump, and he told us about this other hot spring over in the Meadows National Wildlife Reserve that I had never heard of. Like I said, I thought I knew pretty much every hot spring in the area, but apparently there's one more that I need to try out. And according to this guy, it's actually a hot spring, not a warm spring. It's hot water. So, even though it's a friggin' windy, nasty winter's day, it's not really ideal hot spring weather. We decided to go out and see if we can find this spring that he's talking about. He showed us the location on Google Maps and I pinpointed it, and it's out here in the desert behind me. I think like where that mound of dirt is. So the plan is we're gonna hike out, my sis and Larry and me, and see what we can see. And I don't necessarily want to get in because it's so cold and windy without knowing for sure that it's hot. So I'm bringing this awesome thermometer gun with me, and I'll be able to just zap it at the hot spring and it'll tell me how hot the water is. And this thing's pretty accurate because it's reading the wind temperature right now at like 68 degrees. It's not a cold day, it's just really friggin' windy. So we gotta hike out. There's the crew, the Hot Spring Hunters. Next week on Hot Spring Hunters, Wonderhussy and the gang discover a new hot spring. But is it hot enough? Tune in to find out. Okay, let's go. Okay, there's my sis and Larry hiking ahead, and I'm bringing up the rear. It's actually better conditions than I expected. I thought it was gonna be really muddy out here because it rained the other day, which it doesn't do much in this part of the country. And this is an area that's got a lot of groundwater. So, in fact, it's right near, we're not far from, I explored an abandoned brothel here a few months ago, and it was really muddy on that explore. So I thought today might be muddy too, but ground's pretty dry so far. You can see here, it's dry as a bone. My sis and Larry up ahead having no issues whatsoever. No galoshes needed on this hike. And man, apologies if the audio sucks on this video, but it's so friggin' windy that even my awesome Rode video microphone with the fluffy windsock on it might not be able to cut through the noise. So bear with me. Hopefully it'll be worth it. Okay, the guy we talked to said you could drive right up to it, I think. So, I don't know. Oh, look, here's a sign. I think it says no swimming. No camping, no fishing, no fires, and no swimming. Well, that's a sure sign that there must be some kind of hole nearby, water hole, right? Okay, it's probably up here in this, there's a bunch of trees and reeds. It looks like there's possibly some standing water. And I do have the location pinned on Google Maps, so I'm just kind of walking towards the pin. Okay, here's the first sign that there might be a hot spring. There's a broken beer bottle. Where there's beer bottles, there's typically hot springs. Oh look, my sis and Larry spotted standing water. Oh look, wow, standing water. Let's see if it's hot. Is it hot? Oh, let's see what the thermometer says. Says it's about 65 degrees. That's not warm. 65 degrees. That is definitely not warm enough to get in today. We'll keep hiking around the back. Maybe we just didn't find the right pond yet. See if there's any other water here. Wow, look at the ground here. It's covered in this white kind of salty stuff. It almost looks like snow. Weird. Well, here's more water, but it's kind of just a stream that's flowing and feeding that first pond we came to. And unfortunately, it's just not hot. You know, it's about 64, 65 degrees. And well, as beautiful and clear as the water is, and as surreal and unexpected as the water is in this friggin' arid landscape, it ain't hot, and that's all I care about. Well, gee, I don't know how much more we want to hike around, but I mean, we're out here anyway, so I guess we'll explore this whole area of trees, and well, who knows, we might find a hot spring yet. Although my sister was pointing out that maybe this intel is out of date. Like, the guy sounded like, you know, he's been around for many years, and he maybe used to come out here. Back in the day, it could have been hotter. Sometimes the temperature of hot springs changes over the years. So it could have been hotter back in the day, and well, it's cooled down in the meantime. Since we're out here anyways, even if we don't find any hot springs, it's kind of cool to just look at the ground and see what I was talking about with this white frosty looking stuff. It's real crumbly, like almost looks like powdered sugar. Some kind of weird salty stuff. It's a fascinating landscape. I mean, look at this. Totally surreal. And then to have this water popping out in the middle. I mean, like I said, we are in Meadows National or Wildlife Refuge, and it's, well, there's a lot of springs out here, but it's still pretty unexpected, you know, for me anyways, to be out in a landscape like this and then see this beautiful crystal clear creek. In fact, we're not that far away from the Devil's Hole. I made a video about the Devil's Hole, which is a really deep cave full of water that goes so deep they've never been able to successfully even map the bottom. So you can check that out if you're interested. My sister's actually never been to the Devil's Hole, so I think we're gonna drive over there after this and, you know, just revisit it. Well, darn it, I guess we're just gonna give up because we kind of walked all over this area, went to every place that looked marshy with reeds, and well, there's no other big pools other than that first one. Well, one kind of interesting thing about this spring is it's called Jackrabbit Spring, and I guess if you play the game Fallout, there's a Jackrabbit spring in the game Fallout that's supposedly notoriously irradiated, like a nuclear spring. So if you're into Fallout, you might want to come check out Jackrabbit Spring just for the fun of it. But if you're into hot springs, well, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to say, skip this one. Wah!